This is at its widest at 45. This is at its closest at 85. 45, 85 mil, close focus at 85, close focus at 45. Here's the flare. It's actually kind of pretty. This is the flare at 45, the flare at 85. Something else to know that these anamorphic zooms are parfocal. So focused here, 85, focused here, 45.
So that's wide at 45. One thing that is cool, this is parfocal. New hat, new disc. No real flaring. It's not. It's subtle.
It's kind of nice, honestly.
Yeah.
I like less flare, I think.
So Laowa was kind enough to send over their new Proteus 2x anamorphic zoom lens, the 45 to 85 for Super 35. And it's recording on my X-H2S right now. This is sponsored by Laowa, but I do not get to keep this lens. However, money was exchanged, but this doesn't skew my opinion on this. So let's jump right into it. Here's the rig. It's a little janky. It's my X-H2S, like I was just saying before. I'm currently in the middle of production, so I don't have all of my bells and whistles to make this as pretty as possible. So insert here. Also, Fujifilm, please put in anamorphic D-squeeze in the X-H2S and also a 4:3 mode for 2x anamorphic filming. Please, that's all I want to say. And prior to this, Laowa did send me almost a year and a half ago their Proteus 2x anamorphics, the primes, the much larger ones, but I never got around making that video. So this is me making that up. Again, thank you, Laowa, for just being kind enough to even send those out and for me to test them. But again, I didn't do a video. But now this time around, I can kind of talk to both of them because this is the Proteus family now, a zoom version, and you have the primes. This is my first time actually using an anamorphic zoom lens, and it takes some getting used to. Being that it's my first time, I do like the image. It's quite clean, and it also has the characteristics. It's not a strong characteristics of 2x anamorphics that you normally would see, but it's there. The bokeh is there. You get the oval bokeh versus, the round from sphericals. Throughout the zoom range, it retains those qualities. It's, again, a little bit more subtle than what you're normally used to with 2x anamorphic qualities. You have that astigmatism, you have that stretch factor, but this is actually a little bit more on the cleaner side, from the 45 all the way down to the 85. Not a ton of distortion, but it is there. A tiny bit of pin cushioning. You actually see on the edges, everything feels very straight, but if I just wanted a little bit of that barrel distortion, boom, there you go. There you have it, a little bit barrel distortion. Easy to do in post, but I know a lot of people want more straighter edges in anamorphics, which is interesting to say, especially on a 2x lens. But yeah, that looks really, really good. This model that I have right now is actually the silver flare, so it's a bit more neutral. It would take on the colors of different lights versus it being prominent with blue or amber. I like amber too, but neutral's right up in my wheelhouse as well. That's interesting. It just blooms. It doesn't really flare. I'm pointing right in it. Huh. That's interesting. I would say for a 2x anamorphic, it's actually hard to get to flare up. A little bit more of that streak. Well, there you have it. I do like the fact that the flaring is very subtle. This makes this lens more usable for me, personally. It is actually amazing how they kind of squeeze two primes, actually multiple primes, in this relatively smaller package. It is a longer lens, but the build quality is super robust. It's solid, but again, you're dealing with a 45 prime focal length and an 85 on the other end, and they have these two lenses in the larger Proteus anamorphic primes, and they are heavy, they are big. And, as much as I, worked with it and worked with my Super 35, it is a challenge. Bigger lenses are challenges. That's not trying to sugarcoat anything. So for them to slim it down and get it into this form factor, it's very much like their Ranger zoom style, but anamorphic. Now, I just want to pixel peep just a little bit because of the combination of the XH2S and F-Log2C and the grain pattern with the higher ISOs. This is at ISO 3200, and just using the ambient lights from the cars and the street light. This looks really good in my opinion. This is literally just putting on the LUT and letting it rock. Now, obviously you can push this way further, but just like right out the gate, the way this lens looks, the out of focus areas, this is tight on the 85 and it looks really good on the face. Now, obviously this is subjective, but it's a good looking frame. I would totally use this lens on a dock because it just gives a different look. It's anamorphic, obviously, but the practicality of it being the zoom just makes it way more useful in those types of run and gun environment. This can be a very good run and gun lens, and it just elevates the look overall because it is anamorphic. I mean, like, just looking here, the 85, just the texture and the fall off is really nice. So what are the pros? One, like I already said, it's lightweight compared to the Proteus primes. This thing is a feather compared to those. Image quality is anamorphic. It has those things that you want to look for. It's not as aggressive as traditional prime lenses, but you can tell there's enough to give you that quality that you want. I do like the look of the 85 on the long end because I think it renders the background a bit more smoother, some better transitions. The 45 tends to get a little choppy for me, just looking at the out of focus areas and how it renders the background. That's just my thing. So even like maybe split the difference, 65, that might kind of give you that look as well. You're at a T2.9. It's not a fast aperture, but it's not slow either. It's kind of middle of the road, T2.9. Again, that's workable for this. It's not going to be like your Remus was like a 1.5 to get it really smeary, really blurry. But this gives you optimal sharpness relatively, it being anamorphic, in the center, even here on the edges. So that's nothing for me to complain about. That's a very workable image across the board. Like I said, you're not dealing with a ton of distortion on the edges, so you can live. Look, I'm on the edge right now, technically. You can see where I'm living. I'm looking at the monitor now. You can see where I'm living with this. So you're not getting a crazy distortion from the edge to here. So it's quite tamed in that sense. So what are the cons, if any? And some people might say the con would be the image quality is not a strong enough 2x feeling, doesn't have the barrel distortion, doesn't muddy up. And that's fine. I think that's very subjective. There's different flavors of 2x. There hasn't been, since there's so many different types of 2x lenses that kind of do its own flavor of certain things, it's about taste. This is nice. This is a nice middle of the road. It's not too clean of a 2x, but it's not too dirty of a 2x. I think it's a sweet spot. Again, you can see, look, like this is pretty straight for being 2x. It is at 45 on its widest. Now, granted, the 26 what they released, the 26 to 45 or 28 to 45, that has more distortion on the edges than the 45. 45 is pretty tame for this, just to point that out. And another thing, this is only a Super 35 lens, meaning it can't cover full frame. You can crop in a little bit later, but it can't cover it natively. And that might be a deal breaker for a lot of you all who don't want to film in Super 35 mode from their full frame cameras. But again, that's preference. You just have to bite the bullet. It's still a 2x anamorphic D squeeze, and it still looks great in my opinion. And a lot of you all can't necessarily use this with 16:9 sensors. You would need to have a 4:3 or a 4:5 or a 3:2 sensor just to get the real juiciness out of this and get at least retain the height, because 16:9 is going to be way too skinny. And that is a look, but it won't be your traditional 2.3-5 or 2.55 or anything like that. So those are the cons I see, and those are technically the things that matter, that would technically matter to me. But I'm fine with it being Super 35. I shoot on Super 35 cameras, so that's actually a plus for me, not a con. So now adding these two lenses to the lineup, Laowa has two anamorphic zoom options, the nanomorphs at 1.5x. Now, I have not used the anamorphs at all. This is my first time using the 2x zoom. Like I said before, I have used the Proteus primes, but having two zoom options and it being the 2x being such a rare thing to see in this space at this price, at that's pretty amazing what they to accomplish. And just lens technology in a whole over the years have been really, exploding off of the seams. So it's really great to see that we have so many options as filmmakers now, where it can kind of be paralyzing in a lot of cases because we don't know what to choose. But the fact that we have these options now just means, to me, I need to be more intentional about what the story I want to tell. Then I can easily pick the tool. The tools aren't gatekeeped anymore. Like, now we have this at our fingertips. So there's nothing stopping us now, So like I said earlier, I've never used anamorphic zoom lenses before, and it isn't that much different from a standard zoom other than it being anamorphic. And for me, the Proteuses, they kind of check some of the boxes that I would look for in it. Now, granted, I don't have much to compare to. There aren't other budget-friendly 2x anamorphic zooms on the market. I would have to go get something, much more expensive that's out there for me to actually do a comparison. But I've used anamorphic lenses before, so I know what I'm looking for and what I like. Again, I would prefer it to have more naturally barrel distortion versus pincushion, but again, that's an easy fix in post. The fact that these are much lighter than the Proteus primes was a huge plus, because as much as I like the look of those anamorphic lenses, they were just too big for me. And being used to using like the Blazar anamorphics, stuff like that, so like a little bit lighter would be great. Now, granted, the larger size did help space out, motors or anything like that. It was a lot easier to do that, but just in general, it's just hard to manage, especially being a one-man band. This lens, like, I'm happy with the 45 to 85. That's like a perfect range for me. They do have the 26 to 45, much wider, too wide for my taste for anamorphic, but just those two lenses, you have a powerhouse. You have multiple different focal lengths all within those two lenses, and it's super cool. So I like them, and I would add it to my kit, but I'm not keeping this lens. Maybe down the line I would, because I am rethinking a lot of my lenses and what I want to keep, what I'm going to actually be using for projects and things like that. So yeah, that's my 2 cents. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's pretty chill. I'm ramping up for some other stuff right now, so this is the best I can do. Again, thank you, Laowa, for sponsoring this video and sending these lenses out to me. I would love for you, if you are new, to subscribe and comment and like all the things. But yeah, catch you guys on the next video. See ya.